More than 100 people are arrested after a day of violent clashes in central London involving some far-right activists.
The individuals that are basically putting the safety of our police officers and the safety of the public at risk will expect to face the full force of the law.
More than 100 people have been arrested after a number of protests turned violent in central London yesterday. Groups including some far-right activists had gathered in the capital, saying they were protecting statues from anti-racism protesters. Police were attacked with bottles, smoke grenades and flares. 6 officers received minor injuries. Other protests held in the city were largely peaceful. Taking a look at the Mirror first, the Sunday Mirror, a photo of the protesters clashing with police in London yesterday. It makes several of the front pages this morning. The Sunday Mirror calls the violent protests shameful, saying a far-right mob, as they describe them, hijacked a demonstration.
Daily Mail's top story looks at the 2-metre social distancing rule. We mentioned it just a moment ago, didn't we? It says Boris Johnson is taking personal control of any decision to change the guidance. Next
up, the Sunday Express, leading on the reopening of non-essential shops in England tomorrow. It quotes the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, who is encouraging people to head to their local high street and shop safely to try to help the economy get back on its feet.
And online, the Eye reports on the lonely households now able to reunite as part of support bubbles. And that, of course, came into effect in England yesterday.
Should we have a look at some of the inside pages?
Go on then, what have you got?
I'm going to show you this from the Sunday Express, page 33 of this. The best stories in the Sunday papers are often well in, I always think. Insulation is ruining our wine.
What?
Apparently. So the paper is saying that because houses these days are much better at keeping the heat in than they used to be, the average house now apparently is 21 degrees, whereas 50 years ago it was 13 degrees. Bit nippy.
That's chilly. Put a jumper on.
50 years ago. Which is all very well at 21 degrees as far as, you know, keeping you warm and toasty, but it's no good for the old Sauvignon Blanc. That's the problem.
So I'm assuming this is for red wine that gets a little bit too toasty.
Well, yeah, and white, I think.
Unless you're keeping it in the fridge.
Suggesting that, yeah, but then it also suggests that if your fridge is too good, then it could get too cold. What you require, this is the detail.
Go on.
What you require is a temperature-controlled wine cave.
We all require one of those, Griff.
I'm thinking the cupboard next, you know, shoving it in next to the laptop in the cupboard doesn't quite cut the mustard. Surely
there's one temperature-controlled wine cave in Mason Towers.
There really isn't. There really isn't.
Shoved
in next to the laptop.
I don't believe you for a minute. This is a story that's really close to my heart in the Telegraph today. The real lockdown mystery, they're saying, where have Wimbledon's strawberries gone? Of course, that's a real fixture for us on BBC Breakfast, covering Wimbledon every year. Myself and Carol absolutely love that fortnight. And, of course, we do occasionally partake of a little cheeky strawberry. So, of course, this year, because of lockdown, because Wimbledon was cancelled so early, Wimbledon didn't even put their order in with their strawberry supplier for the strawberries. So there is a glut. And what do you do when you have a glut of strawberries? You make extra jam. And that's what they're going to do. Make pots and pots of Wimbledon jam, which is a really good idea.
Fantastic. There's another story about... Yeah, one more. There's a bit of a theme from my selections this morning. Whisky. This inside The Observer, suggesting that whisky is becoming a hit amongst women. Do you drink whisky?
I don't personally drink whisky. It's possibly the only thing I can't drink. I don't like the taste. But lots of my friends do. I know that, yeah, it's really popular.
It suggests that there has been a massive increase in the number of, or the amount of whisky being drunk by women. 40 million more glasses of whisky a year drunk by women in the UK than were consumed in 2010.
And that's just in lockdown.
Yeah, yes, quite.
Although everyone says, whenever I say, oh, I don't like whisky, lots of people say it's because you're drinking the wrong type. Apparently, if you get the right type, it's gorgeous.
I have to say, it's only when I've run out of wine and beer that I find myself reaching for the whisky bottle. But
can't imagine that
there is one also in there next to the laptop.
Yeah, I can't imagine that happens with your temperature-controlled wine cave.
No, exactly.
Church bells across London will ring 72 times in remembrance of those who died in the Grenfell Tower fire, as today marks 3 years since the disaster. Survivors and bereaved families are urging people to illuminate their homes tonight with green lights to remember the dead. The Grenfell United campaign group says the fight for safe homes and justice continues. It's holding a series of memorial events which will be broadcast online.